Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast, episode 823. We look at Legends Part 6.
From the sleepy suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, there are assembled the world's two greatest podcast hosts, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Sean Whalen.
Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast. I'm a big fan of variant colors. My love for Batman is that stuff. Let's talk some comics.
And Jim Segulin.
How's it going, Nick? You know me and Superman. I'm really loving what they're doing. Raging Bullets is a spoiler podcast.
Their mission, to discuss DC Comics in books, movies, and television several times a month in 1 to 3 hour episodes. And to serve all mankind.
Outstanding.
Welcome to Raging Bullets. I'm Sean Whalen, Dr. Norwich, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Jim, the sensational sensei of the whatnot, Segulin.
How's it going, Nick?
Jim, on this episode, we're wrapping up Legends with Justice League of America, number 261, Legends number 6, and Secret Origins number 14. Ken Nabbe is also joining us as we continue this wrap-up, and we are sponsored, as always, by DCB Service and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Segulin, what is going on over at DCBService.com?
We have another Vertigo title coming out, Black Tower, The Raven Conspiracy, issue 1 of 6. It's 48% off, only $207. And we've got a couple DC Finest trade paperbacks coming out. We've got Green Lantern setting up shop, and we have DC Finest Horror, Where Dead Men Walk. Both of these are 48% off, only $20.79. Thank you, DCBS.
Over at InStockTrades.com, they always have their deals of the week. And they have this time DC Finest, Robin, The Origin of Robin trade paperback, $39.99 regularly, 48% off, only $20.79. I want to thank DCB Service and InStockTrades.com for continuing to support our show. I want to remind everyone about our Comic Locker Pro Crisis Trivia Contest. We have 3 questions out there, and if you answer any one of the 3 correctly, you will get a free 1-year pro subscription. Please send your answers to ragingbullets@gmail.com with the subject line, the Comic Locker Pro Crisis Trivia Contest. And let's give you the 3 questions. What character introduced in Crisis was originally conceived as a villain, turned into a hero for the series, and then transformed into a villain again for Final Crisis? For bonus points, what was his name at all 3 stages? And then question number 2 is, what real-world event could have saved Supergirl from dying in Crisis? And number 3, according to Crisis lore, what artist-writer was offered the chance to work on Crisis, but turned it down partly because Frank Miller told him he'd be crazy to take it on? Remember to please send those to ragingbullets@gmail.com, any of your answers, with the subject line, the Comic Locker Pro Crisis Trivia Contest. We have 3 prizes to hand out, and would love to have our listeners get a free 1-year Comic Locker subscription. For more details on the Comic Locker, go to thecomiclocker.com. And for all of our listeners, there is a discount available if you go to thecomiclocker.com/Raging Bullets. I want to thank Kevin Miller for offering that to us. Mr. Segulin, what kind of a podcast are we?
Raging Bullets is a spoiler podcast. We go in-depth into plotline, story twists, and whatnot of the comics we're discussing on today's show. So if you haven't read the books, you may want to come back later so you can better enjoy the show.
Let's talk some comics.
Nothing like the handy-dandy electro claw for carving through metal doors.
Gentlemen, first I want to welcome back longtime friend of the show, Ken Nabbe. Ken, we are here. It's the finale of Legends.
Yeah, I know. Could we drag this out anymore? I guess would be the question.
So we're going to be talking about Justice League of America 261. This is the finale, the end of the Justice League. J.M. DeMatteis is the writer, Luke McDonnell on pencils, Bob Lewis on inks, Albert de Guzman on letters, Gene D'Angelo is the colorist, and Andrew Helfer is the editor. This is a cool issue. I love the cover. I mean, the cover, Justice League of America, the final chapter with the big, it felt big at the time. I remember this issue with being like a pivotal one where this is such a iconic series for this one to be wrapped up the way that it was. And I'm trying to remember, numbering wise, when they brought this back in various iterations, did they ever go back to the legacy?
They have never gone back to the original numbering scheme. Morrison went with number 1, but it was JLA. It wasn't Justice League again until I think the third volume, the Jeff Johns volume. So they never went back to original numbering. So that brings, it was a fairly long run for Justice League in comparison to what you could see out there. Again, we're talking, Action Comics last episode. That had, of course, the longest run for DC, and something they've gone back to renumber even after the New 52. So
the first page of this issue is Jim's validation page.
Yeah. It was very much, if you had not read Justice League and did not know what was going on, this made more sense. Though I like that it should be the Revenge League of America at the rate they're going in this episode. Yeah. There's some angry. I don't think I've ever seen John this angry in any of his other iterations. Maybe I haven't read Absolute Martian Manhunter, so I don't know if he gets this emotional in theirs. But this caught me off guard reading it. That John Jones is just an angry Martian.
Well, the Justice League's never experienced this level of loss.
Right.
So many. There's been death before, and I'm not diminishing any of death, but this is the entire team.
Vibe was the first leaguer to die on duty. So this is new. We're 300 plus issues in, and this is fairly new for these guys.
Yeah, because Superman died and came back right away.
Yeah. Right. Well, yes, but no. Death of Superman is Superman 75.
No. I'm talking about in Justice League.
Oh, yeah.
Or this. It was the same issue. He was dead back.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't really count, just in the sense that they haven't experienced this level. The vibe was dead.
At this point, DC Comics, I want to say that the Golden Age Batman is the only character that's died and stayed dead.
Yeah.
At this point. Because Just Todd's not dead yet. Superman hasn't died. Hal Jordan has. Golden Age Batman, which always fascinated me as a kid. I went back and read that Adventure Comics when the Golden Age Batman dies, and how they have to make it look like Bruce Wayne, who was commissioner of Gotham at the time, looked like he died differently than Batman, even though both of them died on the same rooftop. So very interesting spin. If you ever read the Justice Society, America versus Justice Society, I think it was a 4-issue miniseries that takes place on Earth 2, where there's a Senate committee on them being tried for crimes that Batman accuses them of in his journal From Beyond the Grave, where Batman writes with his left hand while Bruce Wayne writes with his right, so that their penmanship looks different.
We're also very used to now characters returning. It's kind of like you die. Somebody's going to eventually write a story where they come back. There's few exceptions to that over the years, but that's become a very common thing. That was not back in this era. When they killed Vibe, it meant something. You felt like it did. He did come back eventually, but it was years later that he came back, similar to Barry Allen. They were dead. And these were big time happenings when a character died back then, because your expectation wasn't automatically, writer's just going to bring him back. That became very much in the 90s and beyond, that the idea of characters are gradually returning was a thing. It was not in this era at all.
They didn't really start killing characters off until Crisis. That's when we started having just major deaths. Honestly, at this point, it's the Waynes and Uncle Ben are the only three that are going to stay dead.
Supergirl.
Oh, yeah. Well, now they brought Kara Zor-El back.
But if you take a look at when they originally brought her back in the Superman run, the Bullet.
Yeah, the Matrix.
It was Matrix. It was not her.
Yeah.
So she didn't actually come back till years later, and they kind of rebooted her, revamped her at that point.
Oh, I'm still convinced that Alfred's coming back.
Oh, at some point, yeah.
At some point. I'm just wondering how long they're going to go. Barry Allen stayed dead for 20 years, so
I'm impressed that they've kept, I'm actually impressed that they've kept Alfred dead as long as they have.
Yeah.
I'm more curious how they're going to bring him back. Because I hope it's an actual epic story that brings Alfred back.
I'd like to see the return of the Outsider, which was Alfred. Yeah, the Outsider. There's a deep cut. Yeah. We'd like to see the Outsider return and then, reveal it's Alfred. So
that'd be cool. This issue was very, very good, though. I loved this whole arc, I should say, was something that was, whether you were exposed to the Detroit League or not, and I was not at the time, I really loved where this story was going. I forgot about the padded cell stuff, and Jim, you were spot on where it was going and where that all went. This is a great Vixen issue. I really liked her and seeing her. She felt very strong, very powerful. I liked her emotions. I like that this had a real impact on her where she's like, I think I'm kind of out after all of this. I mean, and you see through the journey like that she goes through, it's an example of this last issue and this issue and everything they did with her, give her this really cool arc that I thought showed the impact of death. That I think is something that doesn't always happen in comics. And it's great when you get to see a character having a real emotional, you mentioned emotion for John, definitely a lot of emotion there. Revenge League, you mentioned that. I think she's every bit as much a part of that as John is. And I think both of them together having a different journey adds reality, right? We all deal with death differently. And I felt this was very well written.
I wasn't really surprised me with Vixen. I mean, her power sets, very instinctually based.
Sure.
So for her to be that angry at that level. But I always thought Vixen needed an amulet for her powers. And she's not wearing an amulet through all this. I wasn't sure if that was an addition later on. Was it forgotten about? I'd have to go back and read my Who's Who. Because I thought she had gotten her powers from an amulet that she had to then declare each animal that she was channeling.
I did too.
Yeah, I had that in my head as well. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not crazy.
No. But again, that could be something that popped in later on or whatnot with her. But again, I did like seeing her go through this kind of, metamorphosis, if you will, where even her inner dialogue where she's going on, she's like, she's sitting there, I'm not an animal. I'm a fashion model. I'm a woman, but then she's like, why am I drooling like some hungry beast? I thought that was a really cool, just that thing she's going through where she's so filled with rage and anger. She's going animalistic, but she's like, no, I am still a human. And she's fighting with that. That was for me some really cool stuff with her, especially where it ends up with her walking away from being a superhero at the end of this issue. It was a really neat just arc for her to go through within the pages of this. And again, explaining why she's stepping away for a little bit, why they're not going to have Vixen around in this capacity.
Vixen does not always need the amulet. While Tantu Totem, her mystical necklace, is her traditional source of power, she is innately connected to the Earth's field known as the Red, and because of her rigorous training and deep bond with animal life, she can still access her animal memory without it, though her abilities are notably more limited in scale and duration. So she can still do it. It's just less potent, I guess, when she does it.
Yeah, I always thought Vixen is the Temu version of Animal Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like Animal Man had to be close to whatever animal he was channeling. I did like the whole idea of the Red. What that was brought in? What was that post New 52 or was that pre New 52?
Right. I think
the red and the green.
Right.
Yeah. I guess the fact that John is willing to waste booze tells you exactly how angry he is, because that is a major foul, especially what Haywood would be serving, because he ain't got no cheap stuff underneath the cabinet.
Yeah.
But yeah, angry. And there's not a whole lot. I would have expected John to have a little bit more shape-shifting in this than being in his natural form during most of this. I would have thought he would have been in a more human guise with Haywood, but it's consistent.
It makes more, to me, it makes more sense that he, these are people that he knows they're steel, so he would be in his natural form. And
that's not his natural form.
True.
That's not the, that's
not the true
the most humanistic he had picked out at the time. It was more common, but probably the fact that Haywood's has figured out how to track the androids. So, but the fact that some of these androids give off a scent is just crazy. I mean, that's Vixen's got, the closer and closer the androids are to the original.
Yeah.
It looks like that they're even more closely tied to Ivo.
Well, even like the Ivo android, she later comments on how initially that, fooled her because he really went overboard on making that seem like that was a human there. When she has his first interactions with him, she's tracking a human. And then when it isn't until later that she realized, hey, this guy's not human either. Yeah, and I like the fact that Ivo went to that level. And I do like, again, the fact that like, hey, sit down, have a little bit of tea with me. Like, what am I, an idiot? And I was laughing right.
Yeah, I was expecting some Princess Bride style, but I'm starting to think, when did the Princess Bride was 87? So I mean, this predates that. So I mean.
I really liked that they were so emotionally charged that this is an example of the League being dead, which John keeps saying. Vixen and John were not coordinated on this. They happen to both be tracking down the same person. This is not a team functioning together. These are two people from a team that has been destroyed that happen to be having the same goal. And I loved that part of this story because, again, that felt very emotional, very raw, and it was very well written.
I mean, Vixen has basically left the League, but John says the League doesn't exist any longer.
Yeah.
Much different mindsets of, Vixen's like, I'm no longer part of this. And John's like, oh, it no longer exists. And how they act and how they treat it differently is very, very telling of how they operate as individuals. John's been very much a team player for his entire operation. And Vixen is very much a new member of the Justice League. I mean, John's been part of the Justice League, I want to say, from almost the time he was brought to Earth. So.
This was a cool look for Vixen back in the day.
Yeah, that hair's killing me.
Yeah.
Like, how much time you spend working on that?
It's all worth it. It's all about the vibe.
One of the things I dig about the artwork in this, and I don't know if they did this to save time or if they intentionally did this. There's very little background stuff. It's a plain white background. So you really do focus on the combat, on the fighting, on the movement. I thought that was a neat little thing. Again, it could be they were running out of time, so that's a time saver for the artist, or that could have been the intentional of the look where they just focus on Vixen and the different androids attacking. Vixen fighting.
Could be both.
Honestly, Jim, what would have been added by having a background in page 13?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really see anything. Any advantage to that.
I think it's both. I think it's what you're saying, Jim, and I think it's what Ken's saying. I think there's no need for the background there. It does. You want to focus on the action, and for them when they're looking for time savings as far as being able to get this book out, because you figure with this event, I don't remember Legends. It's funny. I was just doing a podcast on Squadron Supreme, and that book.
Oh wow,
that 12-issue book. Yeah, a great book. That 12-issue miniseries came out, all of it on time. But there's panels where clear the backgrounds are not there. They used very specific color because of the fact that book needed to ship on time. This is another example of a book that this one had to ship on time because this needs to release before Legends. Right. Because it has to run on time. So I don't remember Legends anything. And I might be wrong on this. I don't remember anything being delayed. I don't remember waiting for an issue. I went to the comic shop to pick all of this stuff up. And you figure with all the double duty work and things that Byrne was doing during this time, right? I think all of the actual main series and Superman and all that was shipping on time as well. That guy was doing Action, Superman, and Legends. That was a lot.
And don't forget, he was drawing and writing Superman.
Yes. I mean, that's...
Poof. Yeah, he was doing Perez style. And yeah, it was one of those. Is just these books. I don't remember anything being delayed either. I do know that some of the chapters were out of order. Like, of course, we talked about the Warlord stuff was not produced in order. If you look at the actual publication dates, but luckily the banners told you what order to read them in.
Right.
So, and that's one of the better parts of having those kind of banners. Millennium ended up doing that with Weeks. Didn't tell you exactly how to read it, I told you what week that of the Millennium Saga each of those issues took place in. So
this was the battle was really good because I love the idea of the dialogue. Doesn't have dialogue and artwork working really well together, where she's recognizing not a human she's really emotional, but then is taken aback by the sheer overwhelming numbers. Mm-hmm. She has to unleash her fury, where she's like, I am an animal. And even with those numbers, she holds her own pretty well, but she's eventually overwhelmed.
Right.
The sequences where it looks like she's going to be killed were great. Yes, I thought Martian Manhunter was going to show up. I remember vividly thinking that, but still the sense of danger to her because of the fact we've established 2 Justice League members are down and out and for good because Steel's gone and Hyde's gone.
Yeah.
The rules are off here. And I love that she's like she's being suffocated. I'm dead. And then John showing up was such a cool moment. Like, I wanted him to have a moment there. And boy, did this story get great when he showed up. I loved how that played out.
Well, Ivo was expecting Vixen, which I have a feeling is why that Ivo Prime, for lack of a better term, on the bots, had a scent. It's because he knew that he needed to bring Vixen there. I don't think Ivo expected Haywood to come up with a tracking device to bring him there as well. Because you see, Ivo has to reprogram the bots to then deal with Martian Manhunter because they were programmed to deal with Vixen. Though, again, a product of the 80s, Ivo with a super lighter because he's a smoker, Now, somebody walking around with a lighter, if I was somebody who had a weakness to fire in today's day and age, if somebody's walking around with a lighter, it'd be a much different story than 86.
I don't smoke and I carry a super lighter.
Oh, do you? Is that your everyday carry, Sean?
Just in lighter. You never know when you're going to encounter a Martian. It's people look at me strange. I tried to get on the plane to Heroes Con and they were like, "You can't take that, sir."
I always see EDC kits. So I'm just like, lighter? Really? Really? In today's day and age, a lighter's part of your EDC, but whatever. Yeah, teach his own. The fact that I'm watching EDC video should tell you, it's like, okay, well, am I going to put my backpack for work each day? But yeah, John blows in and Ivo's like, oh crap, gotta adjust. And we forget, and even the writers during this period forget that Martian Manhunter is just shy of Silver Age Superman, which means he is, unless they scaled everything down, would put him at the Burn Superman power levels. So, I mean, this is a heavy hitter, but again, sometimes I feel that the late era JLA writers just didn't use the elongation superpowers that Martian Manhunter had. Because, like, Grant Morrison, you would have thought that John Jones was Mr. Fantastic.
Yes.
With the amount of stretching between that and the telepathy. And I'm not a Grant Morrison super fan, but there's some things he really did well. And that first 12 issues of the JLA run really shows what the team can be, especially Martian Manhunter.
Well,
on the JLA telepathic network.
What they did with Martian Manhunter in that, just building off of what you're saying, because I couldn't agree with you more. It took a character who almost like comes off as a shape-shifting Superman light.
Yeah.
At times, and gave him like a real unique, like really embraced what shape-shifting can be, what I can do, and separated him as a heavy hitter on the Justice League of a very, very different level. And I loved that run. You're right. That was sometimes there's some Grant Morrison runs that I absolutely adore. Other ones I feel like they're homework.
Right.
And JLA in and of itself, if you are somebody that's on the fence about Grant Morrison, I'm going to echo what you're saying here and say that initial run of JLA is some of his best work. And you really should read it because it's really, really great superhero storytelling and moves these characters forward in a big way.
Right. Yeah, he did a great job with it. It's some of the weird Batman stuff. It's like, I love some of the Silver Age pulls he was doing. But it was just like I say, like you mentioned, Sean. It was homework. It's like even me as a with a PhD in pre-crisis DC, I was like, okay, what Batman story from the Silver Age is he pulling this from? Okay, I mean, I know I was a big fan, but I don't remember the Batman was an R. So at least I knew who Batman was. So it's looking at that, going, okay, I had to, when I was reading that run of JLA, I was unemployed at the time, so I had plenty of time, but I had to go back and pull some of my character sheets and character players guides from the Mayfair and West End Games DC role-playing game to go, am I missing power set? No, they're there. From the early 80s, it was just not stuff that was used by a lot of the writers for JLA, for the team books he was in.
I enjoyed his Batman stuff, but I will say, I think where he perfected what he was trying to do with Batman, and it succeeded. I enjoyed it, but it required a lot of work. Right. I think he did it better with All-Star Superman, where I think he was doing the same thing. He was going of the Silver Age stuff, but you didn't need to do the homework. I felt that story was just a lot more accessible. And I think there's a reason why that story is applauded the way that it is, and I think deservedly so. I think it's some of his best work, and it's very accessible, but he plays with all the same toys like he was doing with the Batman story. And I think it's a lot more, it's one I would be more comfortable handing to a general audience and just saying, you can enjoy this story from cover to cover without needing anything to enjoy it. Whereas I felt like the Batman run, which I loved, I needed to really deep dive for that.
I mean, Batman did that whole, we had a major Batman reboot with Dark Knight Returns. Everybody, and then you had the Burton Batman films, and everybody had a rethinking of what Batman was.
Sure.
But Superman, even with the Byrne reboot, you could still do polls for Superman, Silver Age Superman, and people would still feel very Christopher Reeve with Silver Age Superman. I mean, Grant Morrison wasn't having to move planets. He was staying still very heavy powered, but not, time traveling and going back or going to the 31st century, any of that kind of stuff. But still a really solid Silver Age Superman story. And All-Star Superman's one of my favorites.
Morrison's best Batman stuff from myself was when he had Dick Grayson take over as Batman.
Yeah.
And Damian was Robin. I felt like the two of them together, he really started having some fun with it. They had that crazy flying craft that they had, and it was like I wanted to drive that. It was super cool.
But I love the Chuck Dixon Prodigal Son run.
Oh, that was great.
With Dick and Tim.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Prodigal's fantastic.
Dick and Damian. I mean, Tim was very respectful of Dick. Well, Damian's just a whiny bastard. So, I mean,
the little monster, though. And I think by the end of the run, that little monster started showing respect and during that run, you get a really cool Damian development. He's still a little bit of a monster, but you start seeing the signs of the hero he will become. And part of that is he had Dick Grayson as a mentor. And I loved about that.
As a card-carrying member of the Dick Grayson fan club, I read that book specifically because of that. And honestly, I don't know if Damian would have developed if Bruce would have been the guilty father versus Dick being the shut the hell up. You're the sidekick. You need to start listening to me. Yeah, that works a little better. And again, Dick's a much better team leader than Bruce has ever been.
Big time.
So
if you haven't read Nightfall and you're listening to this, it's been available in omnibus editions. They're going to be doing a movie, 3-film.
Oh, geez.
Animated.
Nice.
That's coming out. I know that there was
some Jean Paul Valley.
Yes, but Prodigal spins out of all that because Batman looks for a replacement, and it's not Dick Grayson. And Prodigal's kind of the who Bruce should have gone with all along.
Right.
But the story really, for anybody that's a Bat fan, you really do need to read Nightfall first, I think, to get the full impact of Prodigal in a good way. But then when you read Prodigal, it really is like, I think we're very used to a different relationship between Dick Grayson and Batman now than we were used to then. It really is the building block of how we got from the friction-based conflict between the two of them that started in Dick Grayson's teenage years to where we're at with Batman and Nightwing today. And I love that Prodigal, I think, is a pivotal story in the relationship between Bruce and Dick Grayson, and still stands to this day as being one of those landmark stories that started to twist and turn what that relationship looked like.
Well, and that relationship really changes in the new Teen Titans Batman and the Outsiders crossover.
Yeah.
Where Bruce basically turns to Dick and tells him to lead the two combined teams because Bruce realizes that Dick's a team leader and Batman just uses the Outsiders as tools in his utility belt. Hence why they kick him out of the team. But still. And that's where Bruce and Dick go, oh, yes, you've developed into a better hero. Again, remember, the Earth 2 Robin becomes his own Robin character outside of Batman after Batman's death, which is one of the reasons why I've always liked the Earth 2 Dick Grayson. But yeah, it's one of those, it's the JLA. I'm glad that they ended the Detroit era. I was not a big fan of the international era, especially when they're doing America and Europe and everything else. It just seemed too much of a grab for too many titles, and being able to reset and go, okay, the Justice League needs to have DC's heavy hitters. It can't be the B League. And that's, I mean, it got to be the B League for a while. Not Justice League or not necessarily Justice League is a great run, and you wouldn't get Blue and Gold without that run. But still, Blue Beetle and Booster are B tier superheroes in comparison to what the Morrison League was. So,
before we cycle back to Vixen being alive, because we've gone quite the tangent. I do want to shout out something I'm listening to right now, the new history of the DC Universe. So I read all of it, but I'm listening to the audiobook version.
Oh, there's audiobook. Okay, I might.
And it's a full cast audiobook. It's narrated by Barry Allen, but when they're going through each of the sequences, a full cast is enacting out each of the sequences that's in there. It's very faithful to the comic, and it's broken up into the different books that the comic's broken into.
Okay.
So it's really, really good. I'm on book 3 right now. I'm not done, but I'm gradually listening to it either as I'm mowing the lawn or driving to work. And I almost wanted to say it's a page turner, but it is. I'm really enjoying it. So for people listening to this, if you're a fan of it, it's worth picking it up. It's full cast.
Okay.
Which that part, it's not just a single narrator. It's great to have Barry telling the story of Crisis is really intriguing.
Have you ever read the Marv Wolfman novelization of Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, which is also excellent.
Yeah, it's a great book. With that's where the idea that the Flash is the lightning bolt that creates the Flash was from that novel. So, okay.
So now, where can I get? Just because I know someone's gonna be asking their machine while they're listening. Where do we get this? The audiobook.
Well, I got it on Audible.
Okay. But if you go to Audible, credits will work for that. I got like 6 of them lying around. So
I'm sure though, if you go to Barnes and Noble, if you go to booksellers and things like that they have it. I've got an Audible subscription, so
I get the same thing.
It popped up and said like this. You'd probably like this. They were right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I do the yearly subscription credits, so I grab all kinds of books, comics and otherwise from it, and that one was one that I can't take credit for jumping to it though. It was Jared, I believe, on our Facebook group did a post on it. I'd already had it in my queue, but he made me jump to it because he brought it. So I actually want to give him a shout out for making mention of it on the Facebook group. It bumped it up my list, and I'm so glad he did because it's really good.
That's good. I've got the new DC Encyclopedia arriving tomorrow. I try to keep every version of that so I can do comparison each time.
Nice.
Oh, I should get the new one of that because
it was published in March. I got coming in for that Father's Day thing.
Yeah.
From me to me for Father's Day.
Have you found, and then you treat yourself very well, but have you found that the differences are worth it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Who's Who omnibus. I kept all my Who's Who issues.
Yeah.
From ages on, because I never thought they'd reprint. Of course, then they reprint the Who's Who.
Yeah.
So I keep that for my because that was pre-Crisis. So you have Golden Age, Silver Age, Batman, each of those. But like the one right before New 52, and then you get to the New 52 Who's Who.
Yeah.
A lot of changes in those two. And then they do a little bit of cross-reference in the next edition of New 52, pre-New 52. I think the one that just got printed is the most recent one since Rebirth. So it should be interesting how I want to read the Superman entry and how they handle that. Do they still address the New 52 Superman dying and the pre-Earth Superman and Lois taking back over? If they address that in that, or if something gets washed over. I haven't read the new history of the DC universe, so I don't even know if Mark Waid addresses that in that book. It's been on my stack of things to read, but like I've been reading, Legends and got the Superboy and some Secret Origin stuff, which we'll discuss later on.
So
my cue's been a little bit of ancient history more than anything else.
I did like that they clarified when she's strangling the Ivo robot.
Yeah.
That she knew it was not him. She was justifying why, and knew her, and to the point where she knew where he was. She was able to, because of her senses, was able to, figure out where he was, and the whole confrontation with him at that point in time was really, really good. They both are kind of going through this. What do we do with this pathetic man?
That's a hard thing to do because, he clearly pushed them to kill and murder and all that. But is his brain? This right here is the argument for criminally insane.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the reasons why Arkham is so filled with bad guys. And here's actually somebody who maybe should be locked up in an asylum versus executed or versus prison or whatnot.
Yeah. Interesting debate, because usually you get to this point where you're looking for this inevitable conclusion of beating the bad guy. And I appreciated the fact, like, I didn't remember this being the ending. I remember what ended up happening with the two of them, where she did not continue on in the league at that point in time, and he went on. I remembered that, but I didn't remember what happened to Ivo. And I really thought this was a smart ending, something different. It's not really the victory. Like, they beat the robots, yes, but what do you do with him? And I love that. I actually love the unique nature of all this death, and like, there is no vindication. There's no victory. There's no revenge. Actually, as you mentioned earlier, Ken, there really isn't, because you can't get it on him. What are you going to do with him? Yeah. And it was such a clever story in the sense that there's the trap now. You can't really get revenge on this. Yeah, you destroyed the robots, but is that a victory? Does that balance things out? It can't. And they're left in that place afterwards with this unsatisfying ending. And I'm not saying the story's got a very satisfying end. I love what they did, but I love where these two are at, that like they're at a conundrum as far as where do we go from here? It puts both in a very good place. And I just loved the ending. It was just different, something different. I thought it was again, J.M. DeMatteis, I think, is just a brilliant writer. And I just loved that he did something different here. This felt very different than your traditional, we're going to go out with the big victory. These two death-defying, and they got a big victory against the bad guy. No, you got this pathetic man that, what do you do with him? Jim, like, to your point, he's a justification for, you can't kill him. Yeah, and then where do you put him? And I love that conundrum. I love that ending. I think it's just a very smart, very realistic ending that sometimes terrible things happen and there is not a balance to it and you can't achieve one. And I thought that was cool.
And I love both characters use this moment as their launch off for their next point. John's like, because only way we can truly honor our friends, the League must continue. And Vixen's like, no, the way we honor our friends is by living a life and not being, violence begets violence. There's better ways to help the world than to just go out there and punch some people. And I love the fact that each of them take this pivotal moment of what can we do to this pathetic man? We can't beat them up. We got to do something to honor our friends. And they each go completely different paths, but they're both following the same direction. They both want to make the world a better place. They both want to help people, but they've got to do it in different light. And I loved the fact that these two characters went that route. And also I love the fact that I'm normally the guy who's on board with, the throw him in prison, forget that criminally insane, rant. Why are we doing that? And I love the fact that this story was really able to make me change my mind on that with Ivo, and I thought that was, really well written on how they showed us throughout the process why this pathetic little man is torturing himself more than anything else anybody else could do. You just got to keep him away from technology to keep things safe, but I love, how this had so many different layers on the ending. And then you do get that great moment where, the League is done, but it's not done. I love that. That was a really cool moment for me.
Well, I'm like, who's using the signal? Because Dr. Fate is not a member of the League.
Right.
So who is signaling for the League for them to return? So do we have, I don't think they address who turned the signal on in Legend 7 or Legend 6. I didn't say Legend 6.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
then it'll be interesting to take a look at. I'll look back at this issue as we're going through it just to see.
Yeah,
I was assuming it was relating to pulling him into Legends, but I'm wondering if that's an example of different.
Well, that's one of the things when he shows up and we go straight to Legend 6 because it's like there's when Marsh Manhunter shows up, Dr. Fate seems to be extremely surprised that he's there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Legends number 6. John Ostrander on plots. We got Len Wein on scripts. John Byrne is the penciler. Carl Kessel and Dennis Yankee on inks. Steve Haney is the letterer. Carl Gafford is the colorist. And Mike Gold is the editor. And just looking at that cover, one of the things that stood out for me immediately that I forgot is that Wonder Woman was in this.
Yeah.
I kept thinking that she was not in Legends at all, and I forgot how this played out. And deliberately not reading ahead as we were doing this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot she made an appearance in this. And I actually quite liked how they handled her.
First post-crisis appearance of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Byrne's Wonder Woman too. I think he does a real. I mean, this is you've mentioned this multiple times, and I'm going to just echo what you've been saying all along. This is really a banner era for Byrne. This cover is an example. Just seeing all these characters and seeing them drawn by Byrne, especially myself being a Marvel and a DC guy at the time, and really knowing Byrne as a Marvel guy, seeing him take these characters and do his spin on them. I'm going to say it again. I'm a Batman geek. I love that black cape with the gray. I forgot that Byrne did that. And I love his take like that. That is a thing. Like, I love that look.
Well, and then we got Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
And Byrne's Dr. Fate. I think the only Dr. Fate I have liked better is McFarlane's Dr. Fate in Infinity Company. When he did a short run, I think Infinity Company 26 is when he does Dr. Fate. And of course, you get Dr. Fate with a McFarlane level cape.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when Dr. Fate goes into really epic mode.
I love Perez's version of him too.
Yeah.
Just that, and honestly, I'll say bias wise, I think that was my first real exposure to Dr. Fate was that crossover. And boy, Dr. Fate's enjoyed some great artists.
When you get one of the advantages of the epic McFarlane cape, Fate seldom is on the ground.
Yes.
He is traditionally hovering about 18 to 24 inches off the ground. So you can get one of them epic capes with the Beyonce level air fan on it, and you're good to go. Yeah, and it's for magical characters, it works even better. Yeah, I was trying to explain what were we watching? Oh, we watched Elvis Presley in concert. If you haven't seen that, Baz Luhrmann's new film. Of course, Elvis Presley took a lot of his late 60s, 70s, early 70s look from Captain Marvel Jr., was one of his favorites. And trying to explain to my mother a short cape versus a long cape. You know, Captain Marvel, the Marvel family have short capes, and Batman has a long cape.
Yeah.
And then McFarlane Batman has an unlimitedly long cape. So
his Superman, one of the things I really enjoyed about it, I was a big fan of the Kurt Swan Superman, that whole era, but Byrne had this thing about like the capes going over the shoulders.
right.
That he did subtle things with Superman's outfit, keeping it classic while his spin on them. And Byrne's take on Superman in this era, I was so Superman happy because of his subtle changes to Superman. Subtle. You have to go crazy, but he did certain little tweaks and things that made his Superman stand out in that era. It felt like we were moving forward with the universe. We were bringing him today.
Right.
And Superman looks really good on this cover.
Well, don't bury the lead, Sean. Page 1, Darkseid and Phantom Stranger.
Yes.
I mean, Phantom Stranger's rocking the hat, rocking the turtleneck, rocking the cape, rocking that collar.
The shadow over the eyes. The shadow over the
always.
eyes.
Burnt's always good about not showing the eyes.
Yeah.
For the Phantom Stranger, which is one of Phantom Stranger's, very, very specific character traits. But this is like between the two of them, and this makes the Phantom Stranger almost at that same level as Darkseid.
Yes.
While Darkseid has to genuflect and show exactly how. That's why Darkseid's such a dichotomy, because he has to peacock, he has to genuflect, but also he's subtle.
Yes.
He's not one to yell. I think Darkseid handles his anger like the disappointed father, but where the disappointed father just sends you to the room, Darkseid kills you. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, okay, but it's so understated in some points while way overstated. And like this scene is Darkseid overstated and the Phantom Stranger understated, but you both know that both are commanding the scene in that page.
Yeah.
Which brings them both into that. And we've mentioned before, and now it really comes to a head, the Phantom Stranger has been playing Darkseid. He's been playing Darkseid this entire time. He's been using Darkseid's ego to his own needs. Oh, did you forget about this legend, by the by, that will make you look bad? Oh, did you forget about this individual, and your attempt to discredit them will backfire? Yeah, the Phantom Stranger has been playing the long game with Darkseid through this entire run. I say the long game, but the whole thing takes place, I think, over the course of a week. So
one of the things that it does freak me out a little bit is whenever I see Darkseid smiling.
Yeah.
Again, if Darkseid's smiling, something horrible is happening.
He's got some good teeth. He's got some good dental work done on Apocalypse. So
the way that this connects with the real world was something that I really appreciated. Seeing Reagan, it's something that we've gotten very used to there being Lex Luthor and DC characters as the president of the United States in this.
Right.
It should not be understated that like the way that they handled in this, it felt very current. Like in 87 to be reading this and seeing our current standing president in the comic just gave a sense of this happening in real time and really connected with.
And some of Reagan's mannerisms kill me.
Yes.
Especially when Superman and the Martian Manhunter are in the Oval Office. And this even gets crazier when we get to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Secret Origin.
Yes.
I'm just like, oh, little jabs there, guys. Okay. But yeah. The fact that Godfrey's bringing in the crowds at the Lincoln Memorial, we've seen many different events happen at the Lincoln Memorial at this point. And then for Godfrey to be blasphemous is a good adjective for this, and how he's bringing forth. I guess we see how we were wondering exactly how the Apocalypse or the Warhounds are being driven by humans. I guess it takes two So it's got a pilot and a co-pilot. That guy doesn't give a damn.
Oh God, I love that. Of course, Clark is going to be careful of it, and guys like, I don't care. Yeah.
They made their choice.
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter showing up. This is. I'm wondering. This had to have been a mistake. I'm thinking, between the editorial, between the ending of Justice League of America and this.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I can see it, because I'm guessing what was intended to happen is that Trouble Alert in the Justice League was meant to be a link as far as why he's here.
Right.
And clearly the dialogue here does not match that at all.
No, and if you look at the team of heroes that's here, Black Canary would be the only individual post-crisis that would have had a Justice League alert device. Because Batman's not a founding member at this point. I don't know. Wolfman hasn't defined that in the history, but Batman and Superman are not members of the Justice League. This is Wally West. He's not a member of the Justice League either. It'd be Black Canary.
And it was in her other pants.
Yeah, it's in her other outfit.
Yeah.
It's in the corset, not the jumpsuit. So, yeah, the fact he just shows up and Superman's like, okay, is the rest of the league coming? It's nice to see that Superman's got a respect for the Detroit League. Somebody's got to. So,
see, I always wanted, when I was reading this, I wanted like a reveal that it was Reagan who hit the button, and Reagan called in the league. But there's never any. That's just me, my wants. There is no indication of it. But in my head, I'm thinking Reagan's like, we need the Justice League. I need to rescind what I'm doing, and he hits the button and he calls in the Justice League. In my head, that's what happened.
Yeah, and remember, no one on Earth knows Darkseid's involved.
Yeah,
until the Parademons show up. I mean, it's a huge reveal. And they're talking Stargate, so we're going back to, is it Super Friends? Is it, DC? Instead of a boom tube. And they don't put the boom in there, so, what direction are they going with it? But now we know that it's all Darkseid.
Yeah. And
as we get deeper into this, we learn that Godfrey has meta powers that are driving the emotional being of the individuals in the crowds. That he's got superpowers. He's a meta, which means I'm assuming Amazing Grace had the same type.
They did mention that she had a lesser version of his powers. She was more focused one-on-one, while he could do mass groups. So that, again, I love seeing how this all, again, you got Darkseid, the I've won, and just Stranger saying, not necessarily. Let's see what happens here. And again, it's the completely manipulation of Darkseid without him realizing, to the point where Darkseid sends out the Parademons.
Right.
That really cements, his defeat.
Oh, yeah, this is like, F it. I gotta throw the kitchen sink at it, because there ain't nothing left. Once Godfrey starts losing control. And he doesn't really lose control till he backhands Lisa.
Yeah.
Much later on. Yeah, that Lisa kid, she can't catch a break. I mean,
she ended up saving the day, though.
Yeah, but still, between her dad and Godfrey, geez Louise. I do like the fact that how easy it is to get Dr. Fate's helmet off post-crisis, because this is not something that would have happened in the Golden Age, tell you that right now. But Kent still has powers based off the amulet, so he still has some invulnerability, some strength, and the power of flight, which are not things to sneeze at. But
now, so questions for you guys on Dr. Fate. One, the helmet coming off easily. I always remember that it couldn't be pulled off unless he pulled it off.
Yeah, truthfully, he would have to take it off, and then actually Nabbe would have to approve him taking it off.
Okay.
That was that combined Kent and Nabbe personality that they had.
Legends, though, we got to remember, was meant to be a reimagining, a clarification of where the DC universe is now. So in this era, Ostrander and Byrne, they were all working together to establish the rules for what DC's like post-crisis.
Yeah, that may have been specifically put in there, Jim, to show that this is not your dad's Dr. Fate.
Yeah. The other thing I was wondering is, because they explain with the amulet he still has flight and strength, but again, I always thought he had he could cast spells as well, but the helm helps him focus it and all that kind of stuff.
The helm's where the big powers come from.
He does say, I retain some small portion of Fate's mystic energies. So that would back up that he could probably do some spells too. They don't spell it out, but I'm guessing that, right?
Well, in Kingdom Come, Nabbe has the amulet, the cape, the helmet, and the gloves, and that's it. He's got no Kent. He got nothing. He's animating the regalia of Fate because he don't need no human no more. So that sort of tells you the power levels Nabbe has. Sometimes I always felt, and that may have been during the O'Neill run, that Dr. Fate Nabbe was more controlled because of Dr. Fate. I mean, the Dr. Fate was more controlled because of Kent Nelson, that if he was left to his own devices, that he would go off the deep end and try to apply order to everything.
It is cool to see the Suicide Squad in this, and I love the story behind it is, are we taking out Boomerang or not?
Yeah. Yeah. Deadshot's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever. Path of least resistance, and Flag is taking the moral high ground.
But this plays heavily into the Secret Origins issue, which we're going to do next, as far as should we even reactivate this team? And I actually love that all of this flows really nicely together. With the crossovers, there's been very few incidents of things that have been awkward. I think that Justice League one, think about it, in our conversations, that's the first one that was kind of a glaring, like, what happened there?
Right.
We haven't said that a lot, which is, in a scale of crossover this size, that's pretty impressive. That the stories that interact with this, there's not been a whole lot of, going on, for lack of a technical term. This leads really nicely. Well, and it helps that Ostrander is writing this and is also writing Suicide Squad, which I think
right. He goes right into Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so that part's really helpful. But I enjoyed the whole battle sequence there, and seeing Enchantress handle one of the Warhounds around Godfrey, who's now at this point, I'm exiting stage left in this process.
He's recognizing it's about Endgame here. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get more 80s than Enchantress and Black Canary in this book.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Black Canary, they both got the headband. They're both rocking the headband. They're both rocking the cats. I mean, it's just.
Well, I think she took Supergirl's headband.
Yeah, exactly.
She was doing
took it off her dead body.
But Bronze Tiger, seeing him in this and how it was all acted, because I've always liked that character. I think it was a good showing for him as well. I loved that Godfrey, we get clarification. That's really important right now, that we've got to have sympathy for the adults, because where this story's going in this issue, we need to understand more what happened. This is right in your face what Godfrey's capable of doing. We get to see Godfrey's powers. Everything that we've been assuming all along, everything that has been alluded to all along, now is right in your face in this Bronze Tiger bit. It is not a throwaway. It's really pivotal to this point of the story to have this established, to understand what's happened to the rest of the adults. Otherwise, you want to smack everybody upside the head.
Well, I love how Captain Boomerang will turn on dime.
Yes.
I mean, he will sell out his mom, if the price is right, or even if it's not right, man, he got no problem.
He's a different kind of survivor, right?
Yeah.
And here's one of the neat things about this. He's been written consistently throughout all the years I've read Boomerang.
Yeah.
And even in the movie, this has been his personality. And I really do like that.
I do too.
That people recognize this is who Captain Boomerang is. This is what he's about. And, the only time we ever see him have any loyalty would be to the Rogues. And even then, it's still.
And when the Rogues kill Bart, Captain Boomerang taps out fast.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It was Mirror Master and Cold. They did it. Just like, okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Glad you're there. Glad you cashed the check. Next.
It was great to see all the battles. Batman and Guy Gardner, everyone kind of had their own little moments here in mopping up, which we needed. This led into the sequence, though. This is where I forgot, because I saw the boots there, and I saw like the shadow of her coming out, and I'm like, oh yeah, she was a thing in this. And I love that she's saying, I had not intended to reveal my presence in man's world so soon after my arrival. And this was leading into, because I don't think the Perez stuff wasn't out yet, was it?
No, it's not out yet. And honestly, I don't think she shows up in man's world in the first 10 issues of Perez's run. Yeah. A lot of it takes place on Themyscira. First off, I think doesn't Perez rename it the Themyscira versus Paradise Island? I think that was one of the big changes he did. So yeah, this is sort of like, oh yeah, Wonder Woman's coming back, don't worry. Because at the end of Crisis, you didn't know. Because Golden Age Wonder Woman ends up going to Mount Olympus. Diana gets hit with the anti-monitor beam and does a Bruce Wayne, goes back in time and, what is she now kind of thing for the Perez reboot run. So,
and I have just
for her to show up here.
I'm double checking that. It was always Paradise Island before the Perez run.
Yeah, it was always Paradise Island.
And he pulled that actually from Greek mythology.
Yeah, that was one of the things. George pulls it. Well, he did a lot of that with Donna Troy and the Titans and New Titans.
Yeah.
And then War of the Gods. There's another miniseries that's
great.
Yeah, because they kill off Grant Morrison inside the book. So that's a one issue of War of the Gods I have graded is issue 3 where the writer is killed.
Nice.
And I can't remember who wrote War of Gods. He was not a Morrison fan, and when he realized that Morrison had written himself into the DCU, that he could kill him off.
Yep.
Not petty at all.
One of the neat things for me about this, because again, this is first exposure to this stuff, was seeing that this was Wonder Woman's first appearance.
It was
right.
Wait, Perez, by the way, wrote War of the Gods.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
I
knew he drew it. I didn't know he wrote it. Yeah, that was.
There were tie-in issues that were written by Ostrander, Louise Simonson, Alan Grant, and Marv Wolfman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the fact that he kills off the writer in issue 3 is great. The writer.
That is an impressive Wonder Woman holding up the Warhouse.
Oh yeah, Byrne does. Byrne does a splash page well. I mean, during this period, and even when he goes to Dark Horse, does the next man, he does some really good work.
Yes,
yeah. And part of me wonders if there was a burnout at that point. He's another, much like Alex Ross. He's a lightning rod. You either love him or hate him.
His X-Men Elsewhen is being collected and actually published.
Mm-hmm.
It was done, soon. It's in this year. It was, I think it was a Kickstarter or something or other. I pre-ordered it. I don't know where I'm forgetting where I've been, excuse me for anybody listening to this. If you do a search for X-Men Elsewhen, if you're a Byrne fan, it was like if he was continuing on X-Men, what it would have looked like.
Oh, okay.
And, it was unofficial. So it's starting to be collected, and I think there's going to be more than one volume, but the first volume's being released. So if you're a Byrne fan, something you're going to want to seek out, just because I've read some of that. I haven't read all of it, and the idea of having it is kind of a cool thing. So if you're a Byrne fan, appropriate right now to looking for more Byrne work. That's more Byrne work you can grab. Good stuff.
Yeah, I keep waiting for the Man of Steel Absolute Edition. I'm waiting to figure out how I explain the Legends Omnibus that's going to arrive next week to my wife. That should be an interesting discussion.
It was memorializing these many weeks of episodes doing this.
Yes, exactly. I was just like, yeah.
I'm laughing to myself that this omnibus is going to be arriving after we do this.
I know,
and I'm like,
I need to buy.
I had to have it. It was research for the show. Yeah.
I still need to get her the Invincible Library Edition Volume 4 is the piece missing from the shelf for her.
Well, that might be the ignore what's going on behind the curtain.
Yeah. Look over here. Nothing to see.
Look, shiny.
Another one.
I have a Transformers Matrix of Leadership on pre-order, so that'll be another one I get to try to explain as it arrives.
But you needed that.
I needed that.
Yeah, that's not a. I mean, that's understandable.
It opens up and it plays the touch when it opens.
Does it really? Where'd you get this thing at?
I ordered it on Amazon. Well, my buddy sent it to me. I think Stan Bush put it on his feed.
I feel like I need that.
Yeah. I
don't know why, but
it's USB power. It's got a pass. So I have the first run.
Yes,
it's got the key to Vector Sigma on the back of it. Mm-hmm. That lights it when you take the Vector Sigma key out. It lights up the Matrix of Leadership. But this one's actually got a battery and speaker.
See, that sounds like a neat
USB.
That really does. I mean, like when you
I need to
describe
a big fat chain so I can wear around my neck, Galvatron style. Yo, wow, deep cuts. Can we tell that we're Gen X? Are you gonna You gotta get your tickets for the 40th anniversary apology tour presentation of the Transformers movie. Phantom Events is doing a 40th anniversary re-release.
When is that?
Apology tour. It's September.
I gotta go.
I've heard through many birdies that there's an attempt to get Judd Nelson and Peter Cullen on the same stage at an event as part of the apology tour.
Oh, that's
so. Yeah. Frank Weller and Peter Cullen are going to be at Fan Expo Anaheim. Nice. And my best friend Tom is going to be hosting that panel. So, yeah, he's got a few questions he was trying to shoot off to me, seeing what other shows do those two guys appear in? Like Dungeons and Dragons, animated. They're both in that as well. So, really? Yeah. Frank Welker is Tiamat and Peter Cullen, Tiamat and Uni, and Peter Cullen's Avenger. So,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine who's Guy Gardner. I'm just looking at the whole dialogue. And I've got a friend of mine who is Guy Gardner. Like, even the way today, he talks like Guy Gardner did in this. And I'm sure I'm like...
He uses babe and broad.
Absolutely.
I stopped using broad in 97. That was the last time I used that.
It's like, you're really like...
Does he have a bowl cut? Does he have...
No, but a lot of flexing going on.
Is your friend Nathan Fillion?
No, but there's a lot of flexing going on, and it's like, really, come on,
beefcake.
Yes, exactly. I'm like looking over this interaction with Diana, and I just absolutely love everything about how this is written.
I mean, Burton's got her. I mean, that's some hair. That is a whole head of a lot of hair.
Yeah.
I don't even think Perez draws her with that much hair. I mean, yeah.
One of the things, seriously, I did like about this was the fact that even though going into this, I didn't know this was the first appearance of her. You know, they give you plenty of word that, this is letting you know, hey, this was, after the whole big reboot stuff, this is the first time she's ever making her appearance. So they did plenty for, for me who never read this when this first came out, and reading it now, you can kind of see where she fits into the universe. So for me, I like that. So if this was someone's first real exposure, using Legends back in the day, this would have been a good thing to just kind of again bring people in onto who Wonder Woman is.
The sequence with Reagan and Martian Manhunter,
yes.
I knew it was Martian Manhunter, but I loved it. Every way it played out. And I also loved that it gives a genuine reason. Reagan at this point was already ready to, he's erring on the side of heroes with everything that's going on right now, especially now that he's been attacked.
Yeah.
And I love that there's like a storytelling build to this isn't just random. There's been multiple phases where he's like, something screwy's going on here right now. And this whole piece where John saved his life gives a real reason for him to rescind the order. And he's like, "You bet I do, son. Wisest thing I've done these past few days." And I just love the dialogue. I loved how it all made sense. It wasn't just out of the blue. We've had multiple issues now to explain why he would flip back to the other side. And he was reluctant to do it to begin with, but it was all about there's chaos going on and people are getting hurt. I've got to try and get this under control. There was a justification why he did it. This is a hard thing to do in comics, using, again, real people to tell a story like this, and they did a good job with this. Really, really good job. I loved how that all played out. I dig when you've got a page cut in half with Superman and Captain Marvel fighting on the, terror.
Yeah, another good splash page.
Two of my favorites growing up. I got Roy Thomas to sign the DC Comics Presents with and Captain Marvel on the front cover.
Oh, there you go.
And I just loved seeing these two together because it's a lot more rare than people might realize. And I remember as a kid loving that TV show, and those two being in DC Comics Presents together was a complete geek out for me. And I was at that time.
Even the animated series.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Paul Dini wrote a lot of those episodes. It's good stuff. The Marvels, Elvis was a huge Captain Marvel Jr. fan.
Yeah.
Huge Captain Marvel Jr. fan. Hence, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of his jumpsuit era cape and belts were very much invoking Captain Marvel Jr. Which I think is hilarious that later on, Alex Ross then creates King Marvel, which is Freddy as an Elvis impersonator Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some pretty epicness. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I love when we're seeing them deal with the people. We've got this massive crowd. You've got a lot of the ground-based heroes are dealing with the people, and you're going to get swarmed. And I love seeing the full league land in there. And you get that it's a kind of an epic moment of the heroes are standing there going, okay, we got to deal with these people now. And it's the final breakdown of Godfrey. And it's, again, the kids. The people who Godfrey can't control, the innocent children.
Hey, we've been setting this up for the entire series. It's just been very much under the current, because it was we brought it up before that for some reason the kids weren't affected by Godfrey at the same level as the parents were. And now, that finally pays off in issue 6. I do like all the heads at the top of page 24. It's like we got everybody, especially with Kent there in the middle.
Yeah.
Sans helmet, still rocking some sweet hair.
Well, and again, it's throwing out the league, this new league, having all the heroes there. And obviously we know some of them don't end up being in the league, but I do like the fact that you get this splash of all the heroes there. Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out Canary's hair. Is she rocking a mullet, or is she rocking, what's she rocking? Because she gets better hair in Justice League International 1. So she grows it out, gets a.
That's not a mullet. That's just, shaved sides and back. The mullet, you have to have the back long. She just has the top. So she shaved down her sides and back of her hair to give her a nice little, that, again, nice 80s rock.
Nice 80s,
look. That's the 80s rocker look right there, man.
Some pet banter.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah. Big time.
I love like stories that start to wrap up like this. Robin showing up on the scene with the kids. And I love that the one, Lisa, who's been our reoccurring character, gets smacked by God. I mean, this kid's like the
full on backhand.
Yeah, and like
full on.
Wait, and I'm like, wait. I love the reaction of the adults. They're like, "Did you see that? He slapped that kid. Is he some kind of animal?"
Ready to burn superheroes as a snake.
But aren't we ready to why is nobody grabbing this guy and beating the tar out of him? It's like,
but you slap the kid. Oh crap! Our mind control is broken.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like, okay.
So then he goes to the helmet of fate, which is actually, I get it. Like, let's kick my power to 11. I love what it does to him. And when I say I love stories like this, I love things where it's not like the superheroes beating him up or anything like that. It is an example of him going for too much power, and that being his ultimate downfall is the fact
the only thing that would have been better is for Ken to go, no, Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't put it on, Godfrey. Heaven forbid. I think I was reading that Godfrey never really recovers in the Earth Sigma period from this.
Yeah.
That he's basically a vegetable for most of this period of DC. I do like the fact that Robin shows up beat to hell. I'm trying to figure out how he got the costume on over that cast. That he was able to.
It's very elastic material,
I guess, and you got the mask on properly with only one hand.
Yes,
but yeah,
well, I'm assuming Alfred helped him.
Oh yeah, probably a good point. Yeah. Off screen Alfred.
Wait, here's where I'm going to completely disagree with you. So Alfred helped him get all dressed up and said, "Hey, you and your crutches, go on out there into the wild."
Yeah, go on out there with the kids.
Yeah. Wait, we saw him leave the hospital. There was no Alfred there.
And of course, after all the adults break from their brainwashing, guy still wants to beat the crap out of him.
Yes.
I like that. You get all the heroes. Superman and Captain Marvel are like, "Hey, no, we understand. We forgive you." He's like, "Stuff that. These guys were going to hurt us. These guys were going to burn us alive." And again, it's that no amount of brainwashing, no matter how potent, could what Godfrey did, unless the seed was already planted. And I love the fact that Guy, of all people, is recognizing, hey, the humans don't trust us. The everyday average person does not trust us. There is somewhere in the back of their brain, thought of, hey, what if these superheroes turn on us?
Oh, we end up hitting on that in a few series later on. Yeah. I mean, Final Crisis hits on that as well.
I'd love though that like guys like all going to do that, and the captain's like, "Hey, this was our fault."
Yeah.
And they said, like
Solomon.
I'm like, Captain, I kind of agree with you. I kind of don't. There comes a point where, okay, people still went like really, really far on this, buddy. Everybody's smiling at the end. Like everything's great now.
Everybody's happy. It has a happy ending. Everybody's good. Now, okay, so with the new league, is Superman a member of the league, or is he just on call if they need him?
He's on call because he does not appear at the UN.
Okay.
And in the page 28, the Guy Gardner colorization, I want to go in when the omnibus comes in to see, is that a miscolorization for Guy just in the digital version, or was that in the original book? And did they fix it? Because since his outfit's blue, it's not green.
I think it was. If you take a look at the colorization they were doing, I think it's a mistake because if you take a look, it matches Martian Manhunter and it matches Black Canary.
Right. It makes you wonder what it'll look like on the omnibus edition when it arrives. They do a correction on that.
Yeah, I want to see that too. Jim, to answer your question, the last three people in the panels, the Flash, Gar, and Superman, all opt out of Justice League.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then reading, I guess Denny O'Neil allowed Batman to be in the Justice League for those first 5 issues because he felt sorry for the Justice League creative team, so that they would allow them to put because there was no heavy hitters in the book. Yeah. So they allowed Batman to cross out from the Batman books in the Justice League. And I'm glad I did, because we would never have gotten Batman cold cocking Guy Gardner without that happening. So,
which is so iconic.
Yeah. I do like how Blue Beetle does that when he does talk. The Justice League is in red, white, and blue, but it's not the Justice League of America. It's just the Justice League.
Well, they hadn't moved to International yet.
No. It was, and the first book was just Justice League. Justice League International Volume Issue 1 is just Justice League. There was no International at that point. It wasn't until the UN justification, which was sort of like that poll that wasn't the Avengers UN sanctioned. Wasn't that their big thing? And the Justice League operated as an offshoot of the American government. So with that and Darkseid the Destroyer, not reminding everybody that he is the Destroyer.
Well, and I like the thing about Legends. In your quest to destroy them as legends, you only reaffirmed them as legends. Phantom Stranger was really good on that. I actually loved them being almost the tellers of the tale in this story and how it worked out. The closing page where you've got Phantom Stranger, like in that Phantom look, for lack of a better way to put it, behind them was a really cool framing of some really iconic bird artwork. I mean, that is a really good page.
Yes.
I like to the point of capes. and Byrne's use of capes. You've got Phantom Stranger's cloak over there, and I think that's just a really good look. I do like, boy, you're talking about his Dr. Fate. Again, the Byrne over the shoulder thing that he does, he does it with all of them, but his Dr. Fate, the way that it comes over like that is really, I've always liked that look of the over the shoulder cape that Byrne did. And it works really, really well for Fate. God, is that a great ending to that issue? Just a really good story. And then we wrap up with Suicide Squad, the Secret Origins issue, which
I'll be honest with you, this threw me. Because when we were looking at this, and I'm like, this being the final issue of Legends. The Legends miniseries wasn't the final issue. This was.
Well, this is a spin-off.
Yes.
Yeah. So I get why they did it, because you couldn't do this before the other one, and I get why, but I gotta admit, it did throw me off initially as this being the ending of the Legends story.
Here's where it didn't at the time, though. You have to understand what Legends was doing. Legends was launching Justice League. Like, as readers at the time, I'm understanding the time place, we knew this was leading to new things. This was going to lead to the launch of Wonder Woman. This was going to lead to the launch of Justice League. This was going to lead to the launch of Suicide Squad. So this issue served as the jumping point for Suicide Squad. As readers, when you're talking in comic shops and fanzines are going on at this time,
right,
we were aware of what was coming. I get why you feel the way you do. It sounds like I'm just reading it in this context. I get what you're saying, and there's validity in what you're saying right now, reading it today. But reading and going to a comic shop back then when this was coming out, all the energy was pointing towards DC was relaunching things. Crisis had happened. We were starting to get some books back and some characters back. And Justice League, we knew that the ending of Justice League was leading to a new Justice League. We knew that Suicide Squad was going to be a thing. It's more of giving you context of what it was like when this came out versus, to your point, what it looks like now when you're reading. It's like, huh?
Yeah.
You're right with the huh. I get it. But back then, there was no huh to this. It was like, oh, cool. We're going to actually get Suicide Squad? Because it was a concept that was new at that time.
Right. And here's the thing. The last Secret Origins we looked at was the Phantom Stranger Secret Origins, which was an excellent book. And why it was such an excellent book is because we never really addressed where the Phantom Stranger came from.
Right.
It had never really been addressed. And the problem, and I read some more Secret Origins books to see if this was a common issue with this series. And this issue, issue 14, the Suicide Squad issue, suffers from the same problem that almost every Secret Origins book suffers from, except for Phantom Stranger. It's basically the Reader's Digest version of a story they're trying to tell. They're trying to cram too much in, and it doesn't really develop things. It's someone reading you the synopsis of a story, not the story itself. I read the Nightwing Secret Origin, being someone that's read Judas Contract so many damn times. I went back and reread the Nightwing Secret Origin. Oh, it's awful because it is just the Reader's Digest version of Judas Contract. There's a lot. I read the Spectre Secret Origin, going, oh, yeah, maybe I'm just, I'm randomizing, picking the bad books. That was something was notorious with the Secret Origins series itself, that it was just basically retelling previous stories in a much less interesting and much less developed way.
Defending this one, though. This one is something that was not common back then. This one was a zero issue. because in 2 weeks after this, they did launch Suicide Squad #1. This was meant to be the wrap up of Legends. Basically, it was, and we're very used to zero issues now being very commonplace. And zero issues, as we know, fall in all different flavors. Some of them have a ton of substance to them. Other ones are like you're saying, they're a compressed version, things like that. They fall into, actually, 0 Hour is a great example of some of those zero issues were outstanding. Some of those were This is an example, though, of a very early zero issue. This was meant to lead into, which wasn't common from Secret Origins all the time, for this particular series to launch into a series. This one, actually, this spin-off is meant to kick off this whole Suicide Squad concept. We're used to Suicide Squad being a thing. It was not back in.
No.
This is it.
This also, it sounds even... The Suicide Squad seems like the poor man's version of the Challengers of the Unknown or the Losers.
Yes.
When you read this, again, the Losers are much better represented in The New Frontier, alternate Earth story by Darwin Cook. That is extremely well done. This is it just seems so compressed, Sean. It's like we got to hit all the major story beats. And even if it's a double-sized issue, it's still got to hit these story beats. It's got to explain Amanda Waller. It's got to explain the current Colonel Flag. And it's got to explain the Suicide Squad.
And why the president would sign off on this.
Yes. And the Reagan interaction's great.
Yes.
I like the jab on, you remember what social programs are, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean...
This should have been 2 issues I would actually argue this should have been 2 issues of Secret Origins.
Right. Or it should have ended just with the secret origin of the Suicide Squad and taken the Colonel Flag and Amanda Waller stuff and lumped it into its own issue 1 or ash can of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So that because it's like here they tell Amanda Waller's origin so much better in Absolute Power.
They do.
Than they do here.
Yeah.
And of course it's a different era. I mean, but still. That was so, and I had forgotten that her origin was in here because I had read it in Absolute Power.
I did
going,
too.
oh, yeah, this makes a lot more sense. And okay. And I was like, why do I remember these story beats? Oh, yeah, because they come from Secret Origin.
In fairness, when we got to Absolute Power, we were talking about, is this the first time we've seen this? And I could have sworn it was because, and I had read this issue back in the day.
Right.
So, looking at this, I'm like, I kind of get why there was so much going on in this that I didn't remember all of that because everything happened so quickly in this. This needed a little bit more. It was a good issue that could have been a great issue if it had a little more breathing room.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, now this is another book that doesn't know where it sits in time.
Yeah.
Because page 7 has got the House Un-American Activities Committee with the JSA and Wonder Woman's there. Okay. So we didn't have Golden Age Wonder Woman post-crisis. So which Wonder Woman is this? And Black Canary, this would have been Dinah's mother who had no superpowers as the original JSA. But again, having Wonder Woman here. So even DC didn't have their act together on when certain characters appeared and what their first appearances were.
No. Well, one little thing I will say, the personality that they're giving to Reagan in this, I thought was actually very accurate.
Oh yeah, for this time period, 86 Reagan.
Yeah, that was, and again, just his personal interactions and just how he was, reviewing the files of this and that. I've seen and read enough about Reagan and how he was while he was in the Oval Office. It's that kind of fits. He has more of a personal dialogue going on with them than other presidents. He was described as always acting. He was always on his game, and you see it right here. He's actually acting while he's in the Oval Office, and I thought that was a good the way he.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the public thought of Reagan pre-Iran Contra. So, I mean, at that point, there really wasn't. Walter Mondale only took Minnesota and DC in the 84 election. So, I mean, like Truman. Got a little bit different spin on Truman here. And they've always had a hard time with Truman in the DCU because they played up FDR so heavy as the founder of the All-Star Squadron and the inspiration to the JSA and all that. So Truman ends up becoming such a smaller figure in comparison to the DCU.
I like the Flag family stories quite a bit. Like, I do like the origin of, I mean, if there's something they do really well in this, I think it's an example. This issue has too much going on in the sense that I really did think this would better serve as 2 issues. But the father and Ricky Flag and, Rick, I actually loved the drama with the mother's death, everything that was going on with his relationship with Dr. Grace. The tragedy that is the Flag family.
Oh, yeah.
And why they're driven the way that they are and what's going on with them. I thought that was very well told. I was intrigued by that. It was great writing. It's if anything, I feel like there was an origin here of the Flags that could have been its own issue.
Right.
And then could have continued into Waller.
For them to have a World War II story and not talk, because General Stewart is Haunted Tank, Jeb Stewart.
Yes.
And no Sergeant Rock, which is weird to have any World War II mention in DC Comics and not have a Sergeant Rock appearance or reference is just weird. So, what direction were they going with? But yeah, the Flags are made out to be a truly tragic Wayne level family in this book. But I do love how men can't handle it. It's like it's suicide. It's Suicide Squad Incel edition.
Yeah,
and it's like the fact that she completely loses it when they die. I was just like, there's a lot of really weak early or mid 80s writing. It's like women aren't strong enough to handle things, and men aren't strong enough to operate without women. It just seemed very strange. I want to go back and read Action Comics 552 though.
The only piece where I give her maybe a little bit of and I agree with what you're saying, but I give her a little bit of the fact that it wasn't just those guys dying. It was the fact that was how she lost her first love.
Right.
And that she started healing with Rick, but then it happened like they were hiding it. And these were 2 guys that were emotionally in love with her, that they hid those feelings from. So then they're dealing with the fact that they never, ever got to a resolution with these guys, like making that right. Then they died. And these are 2 guys that loved her, that she was fond of, that shattered her. I think it was they at least established with her a history of loss before they went and did that to her. You're right. You're right. It's a classic trope that you don't really need, but
it seemed like paint by the numbers, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's part of. So they do a deep cut with Reagan saying that he should have he could have starred in this movie.
Yeah. Yes.
And bringing in the forgotten heroes. I mean, last time we saw a lot of these guys were in Brainiac's ship in Crisis 12. I mean, Dolphin, Animal Man, and Immortal Man.
Yes.
Immortal Man. This version of Immortal Man came back. You should have called him in Reincarnated Man, but still come back.
Do we see Dolphin again before the Peter David run at this point?
No, I don't think so. I think she's off the radar screen until Peter David's Aquaman.
Yeah, which was great. Yeah. She was, but it was cool to see her here. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot she had an appearance.
Yeah, black suit Aquaman. Yeah, it was a neat period.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like Ronald Reagan got too many files. Can't be reading all this stuff.
Yep.
I didn't read any of the Iran Contra stuff, but all the stuff that Waller's giving me, I'm reading.
Waller's family, I felt like that's, and same thing I would say in both, my criticisms of both are, well, I wanted more, not like I didn't like what was here.
Right. And they do it real well in Absolute Power. I mean, they hit these exact same story beats in Absolute Power, but much better.
Yeah. Because they had the time. I think Ostrander did the best that he could with the page count that he was given. And it's a significant page count. I mean, we're talking about...
Oh, yeah, it's a double-sized issue. Most of the Secret Origins issues were $1.50.
Yeah.
They were double-sized because they traditionally had 2 Origins, if not 3.
But think about if it had been 2 issues.
Oh, yeah.
They could have been 2 regular-sized issues where, you're doing the 22 pages, and instead of 35, you got 44.
Yeah, I'm sort of wondering why they put in the Secret Origins run. Well, I mean, it's Secret Origin of Suicide Squad, but it's like instead of putting it in the actual Suicide Squad book, it's flashback. I need to go reread. I read Suicide Squad when it came out, and I need to reread Suicide Squad 1 to see if they did any of the flashbacks in that issue, or did they just asterisk it all and say, hey, go read Secret Origins.
I did like that. I did like it. I felt like I'm looking at the page count over there, and it was like 35, 36.
And Flag's reading Waller right.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Some for what in here.
Yes.
I can read them.
Yes. He was really well established in this. They did a very good job.
Yeah. Flag is the best written character in this book.
Yeah.
Waller seems to be very paint by the numbers, but Flag gets a little bit better fleshed out. And it's nice to see Waller just getting really angry later on.
Well, she becomes so much more.
And it's like one of those, they took a character that could have really been pushed to the back end and, really make her part of everything going forward across multimedia.
Yes.
I mean, the number of places Waller's appeared, it's just incredible.
She's been a character that I always love whenever somebody brings her on the screen.
Yeah.
And, there are variations of her out there. I'm like, yeah, that's the wall. I'm seeing that, The Suicide Squad movies, I really dig. I digged their interpretation.
Yeah.
Big time. I
like CC Pounder was one of my favorites. And who else was played a good Waller? CC Pounder was one of my favorites, but yeah. Well, I mean, they haven't cast a bad Waller.
I agree.
Like some are have much more presence than others. Like CC Pounder was very much the angry in your face Waller, while some of the other Wallers were more bureaucratic. Like Viola Davis is much more bureaucratic. I can make your life a living hell.
See, that's one of the things I loved about the way she played it.
Oh yeah, Angela Bassett. That was the other one. I'm like, I have met an Amanda Waller and Pam Grier. Yeah, wow.
There's some powerful people playing.
Yeah, Vanessa Williams voiced her. I mean, they have not cast a bad Amanda Waller yet. Angela Bassett in Green Lantern. Yeah. CC Pounder. Yeah, she voiced her in Justice League.
I want to do Death of Superboy next.
Oh yeah. I was wondering, will we roll right into that one soon?
I think if you guys are up for it, I really would like to do that one.
I'm going to need a list of what issues to get for that.
Yeah, there are 4 and they're all in the app. I'll send it to you. But yeah, it starts in Legion of Superheroes 37, goes back to Superman, goes to Action Comics, then comes back into Legion of Superheroes 38.
I honestly think we should schedule that one just because we talked about it so much during.
Oh yeah.
I think if, and I don't want this to be one, truthfully, where we say we're going to do it and then we don't.
Oh no, calendar.
I feel this is one we just need to do because
I just don't actually too much retro going into this. Yeah. Then
I think we need to share schedules and let's just get that one on the schedule and just do it because we can hammer that out in one episode.
And it's only 4 issues.
Yeah, but I think we should.
It'll be more the effect of and the fact that we've talked Legion of Superheroes with Superboy before.
Yes,
under the shooter run, that we can then go and talk that and how it rolls into 5 years later, and the Magic War. And I'm right now trying to reread the Magic War. I need to eventually start reading comics that were printed in this century again.
Yeah.
So
I think some of this may lead to some Legion episodes in the future, but I think I definitely want to talk Death of Superboy just because it came up so many times during this. I think we make a mistake if we don't do it as a part.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Cosmic Boy issues roll into Death of Superboy.
Yes,
I mean, because it goes in. The next issue of Cosmic Boy after Cosmic Boy 4 is Legion of Superheroes 36.
Yeah.
And then 37 is the first issue of Death of Superboy.
Now, do they call it Death of Superboy, or is that just what?
The run is Death of Superboy. I don't know if they call it that.
It doesn't have like a banner heading like your
Jim. Because it was very much.
It's a few issues of Legion. It's like 2 issues of Legion, I think.
Yeah, okay. Wrong Death of Superboy. That's Connor Kent's Death of Superboy. Pocket Universe Superboy. which would have been 87. And Legion of Superheroes 38. Okay, Death of Superboy. The Death of Puck Universe Superboy.
They're all in that Man of Steel book, and they're actually
Yeah, they made sure to put them all in there. Because it's Legion of Superheroes 37, Superman. What are the other ones? It's a Superman, the Action Comics ones, I forget.
so it was I can actually front.
The problem is that Connor Kent dies too, so when you put Death of Superboy, it pulls that as well.
I got it for you actually.
Pocket Universe, the Death of Pocket Universe Superboy.
So it was. So Legion of Superheroes 37.
Yep.
Superman 8, Action Comics 591, and Legion of Superheroes number 38.
Yes, those 4 issues.
And they're contained in what I'm looking at right now for anybody listening to this. You can get them on the app, but they're also in the Superman, the Man of Steel Volume 2 collection. All 4 issues are in there. And they actually start on page 201. It's so Legion of Superheroes number 37, Superman number 8, Action Comics 591, and Legion of Superheroes number 38. They're all from 1997. Or 1987.
1987, yeah.
Yeah. So it's spinning right out of this. So we should definitely do those 4 issues. And let's look at schedules and get that on the slate for an upcoming episode. Because I think we should just jump into it. If you guys are available over the next couple weeks, let's just do it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Be fun reading. Maybe that's what Jim and you and I are doing. Our next episode is going to be the wrap up of Hush 2. Why don't we do that and see if Ken, if your availability is? I'm next. We're doing another recording tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Then we are going to. There's a skip week because, but then maybe the week after that, I'll send you guys some scheduled dates and we'll see what looks good for you guys. I don't want to. We'll get it on the slate over the next couple episodes.
Yeah, as long as we get done in July, August gets pretty crazy for me. So.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Ken, thank you for joining us for this. This has been a big...
I always love talking old books.
I do too. But I'm glad we did this the way that we did, because when you and I originally started discussing this, we were like...
Well, just do 6. Done.
Yeah. And then we decided to do all the tie-ins. I'm glad we did, though. I feel like the miniseries by itself would not have been the right discussion to have.
No. It's the tie-ins for this work... As we mentioned in these episodes, that I think the Batman Detective and Secret Origins books are the weakest.
Yeah.
But even being weak in this series is still pretty good. I had thought the JLA issues were weaker than they actually were. Then when we sat down and started.
No, I loved them.
Yeah.
I thought
I was like, I did not have the real fond memories of those Justice League books. And being able to revisit them here made things a lot better.
Gentlemen, as always, thank you.
There they are, all alone except for that old character.
RagingBullets.com is our show website. That's where you can find out details about our upcoming episodes, and it feeds into our Facebook page. It feeds into our Twitter page /X. We are proud to be part of an amazing Facebook group community, and I want to thank everyone that posts over there. That's where you can find details on news, blogs, podcasts. Please feel free to shout out anything that you're doing over there. We post all of our episodes there, and welcome feedback. I'd love your thoughts, theories, ideas on what's going on in any of the events that we're covering. We appreciate you being part of the show. We are sponsored, as always, by DCB Service and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Segulin, what is going on over at DCBService.com?
We have the new Vertigo limited series, Black Tower, The Raven Conspiracy, issue 1 of 6, 48% off, only $207. And DC Finest, Green Lantern Setting Up Shop, and DC Finest Horror, Where Dead Men Walk. Both of these are 48% off, only $20.79. Thank you, DCVS.
Over at InStockTrades.com, DC Finest, Robin, The Origin of Robin, trade paperback, $39.99 regularly, 48% off, only $20.79. I want to thank DCB Service and InStockTrades.com for continuing to support our show. Do not forget about the Comic Locker Pro Crisis Trivia Contest, and there's links in the show notes to all the questions and all the details, and links to thecomiclocker.com, so you can please check that out and see if it is the right fit for you. It's very easy to import your collection. I've done it recently from CLZ and was able to import my database. Super cool and easy to use platform. I want to thank Kevin Miller again for offering us that opportunity. The About Us section of our show website is where you can find out details on how to connect with us on personal social media and gaming platforms. If you are a film fan, please check out Bi-Weekly, Is It Jaws? Host Paul Spatero has invited me on to be a co-host on that show, and we've been doing this for quite some time now. I absolutely love doing this podcast, so please be sure to check that out. And we will be back next week with our wrap-up of the current Hush Part 2 storyline. It is Batman 161, Batman 162, Batman 163, and Batman Wonder Woman Truth. We will see you then. Bye.
All right, you guys. Are you ready to sing your song?
I'd say we are. Yeah, let's sing it now.
Okay, this should be fun. Now get ready for your cue. Okay, Sean?
Okay.
Okay, Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay. Raging Bullets time is here. We talk about what we hold dear. Comic books and TV shows. Superheroes and their clothes. Justice League and so much more. I just love Green Lantern Corps. We talk about the books we've read with spoilers straight ahead.
Okay, fellas, get ready. That was very good, Sean.
Naturally.
Jim, you're a little flat there, so be careful. Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay. Justice League and so much more. I still love Green Lantern Corps. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show.
Excellent job, guys.
Let's sing it again. Yeah, let's sing it again.
No, that's enough. Let's not push it.
Push it. What is that? Yeah, what are you talking about?
No, I didn't
What
mean
are you
anything
trying
by
to
that.
say? I think
Sean,
you're going to
Jim,
How
how long do you want the song to go?
Look, it's our